This is not a drill. We've had another massive explosion, and it seems like the American people are under attack. The American people are getting hit left and right, and specifically, this certain region of the country cannot catch a break, and another explosion has happened inside of Ohio at a chemical plant. This also comes on top of the devastation that has been happening inside of Ohio, and these people are dying. These people are dying. All right, I'm going to show you some footage that another YouTuber posted going to East Palestine, Ohio, and the footage they posted is absolutely insane, and people are dying and they are being neglected, and this needs to have a resolution right now. All right, why can we not pay for these people to get out of their homes, to get into hotels? We pay for people that are not even a part of this country. They are not even citizens. We pay for them to have housing. We pay for them to have hotels. New York City puts people that are not even citizens in some of the nicest hotels in New York City. All right. And I know that we're comparing here, but these are American citizens that are dying in front of our eyes. And this is devastating, the footage that is coming out of East Palestine and this new explosion that happened in Ohio too, at a chemical plant right next to the Ohio River, right next to a creek that flows into the Ohio River. All right, you cannot make this up. And just yesterday, a top government official was warning that we could see explosions on pipelines. We could see attacks on our critical infrastructure, and these attacks are already happening. They are just now telling the public that, hey, these attacks are going to escalate and get even more severe and potentially used as a false flag scenario problem reaction solution. They could use these attacks to shut down the economy, to poison the waterways, so people demand an even bigger government to control everything and regulate everything. All right, this is what they want to implement, and this is what we are moving towards, and they're going to use these disasters to do this. But let's get into what's happening in East Palestine. This is insane. All right, these are some samples. Shout out to Luke Belmar on YouTube. He went to East Palestine, and he's also on Twitter too. I'm on Twitter too. Go follow me right now if you aren't. You never know what could happen to me here on YouTube. I've already gotten a warning strike just a couple weeks ago. So go follow me on Twitter right now. It's free. But you can see here that he went there and the ground is covered in this toxic goop. It's all over the place. It's bubbling up to the surface, and they're just trying to cover it up with dirt, and it's all over the place. And Luke was taking samples here. You can see scooping it up into these sample jars, and this guy was even having trouble getting samples from labs. They were denying him tests for the samples. All right, they were saying, hey, we can't test this right now. And he's not getting a response back from a bunch of different labs, probably because the government is putting out the word not to test for volatile organic compounds, not to test for vinyl chloride right now, so they can control that narrative. And you can see here, this is in people's backyards. This is in people's backyards. This is absolutely insane. Look at this trampoline, all right? So the train derailment is right there in the background. You can see that pile of white chemicals that they're spreading all over the place to try to absorb this vinyl chloride. But this is in people's backyards. You can see this trampoline. They just put a cone next to it. No worries. Completely toxic and contaminated. But there's a cone. All right. No worries there. This is absolutely insane. This is in someone's backyard. Look, you can see the house here. The derailment is right there. House is there. Derailment is right there. And these people are being completely ignored. Yeah, we've had a couple photo ops. We've had a couple opportunities from the Surface Transportation Secretary. He went down there, put on his helmet, but nothing is actually being done. Where's the funds to get these people out of this house? This house is completely contaminated and toxic, and these people are still living here, and they have children. They have children. This is absolutely insane that we are allowed to live like that. Like, if you lived like this, just your property was a toxic waste dump, the government would come condemn your property. They would take your property. They would put liens on you, on your property and everything, and sell it for the cleanup. All right? They literally do this for people that have hoarding houses, or their houses get out of control. The government comes, tears it down, sends them a bill to tear it down for them, and they condemn the housing. So if you spilled all these chemicals, they would condemn your house. They would condemn multiple houses. They would charge you a massive bill. But if the massive corporations do it that donate to the government, donate to these politicians, and it's all the same thing anyways. These railroad companies are essentially a part of the government. There's only a few different companies. They all have massive monopolies, and they're essentially just extensions of the government. If you did this in your property, it would be shut down. But if they do it, there's nothing. There's no restitution. There's no reparation. There's nothing for this. You just have to live here with this in your backyard. This is just a couple 100 feet from these people's backyard, and they have nowhere to go. They can't pay for a hotel. They're saying they've been to a hotel a couple times, but they have children, they have dogs, hotel's cramped, and it's expensive, and that's a temporary solution. What do you do with your house? Their house is completely worthless. Nobody is going to buy this house ever. Everybody knows what this situation is. And this is a project I will willingly offer tax money for. Why is all of our tax money being spent on projects that are absolutely insane? But something like this doesn't get any attention. It doesn't get any money. Doesn't get any funding. I'm up to literally get these people a new home, move them. That is what it is for. It is for real emergencies, for real Americans, and it's spent all over the world. It's spent on all these different interests that don't even represent us. And these people that are suffering here, they are going to die. They are going to die. I hate to be so blunt, but they are dying. This is very sad, and they are being completely ignored by our own government. And you want to know why? It's because there's a depopulation agenda. Every agenda that is pushed in the mainstream, everything that you see being normalized, it is all part of a depopulation agenda. They want less humans on the earth. So any way they can do that, they will push it. That's what this massive war is about. That's what all of these other things are about. I don't even want to get into, but there's a lot of agendas going on that are depopulation agendas, and a lot of people are even open about it. Jane Goodall was at the World Economic Forum saying that we need to have the world population back to how it was 500 years ago, when it was around 500 million. This is a open theory, a open idea among the quote elites, among the quote globalists. All right, this is an open idea among them. And look at the Georgia Guidestones. It says they want 500 million people on Earth. That was funded by a quote elite. And the proof is that there's just no response. How much would it be to just get these people RVs, get them mobile homes, get them some kind of alternative housing, get them in RV parks somewhere else in Ohio, anything? There is no ideas even offered as solutions for these people. They said they are completely ignored. These people said they just stand outside on their porch all day hoping somebody will come along, and this guy was able to just find them standing out there, and they have a bunch of signs outside their house, and they're just hoping somebody will come because they're completely desperate. This is sick. This isn't America. If this was in some other country, America would be like, we need to send all this money over here. This is a devastating emergency. All right, rightfully so. Like, look at Turkey. There was this crazy earthquake. I won't even get into all that, around all the theories around this earthquake happening. I made a whole video on that if you saw it. Very suspicious. But we have millions of dollars to send for aid for Turkey right away. As soon as it happens, we have these tens of millions of dollars just able to send, which is great. That's amazing that America is that wealthy to do this. Even though we're really not, we have a ton of debt, but that's amazing that we can do that. I like helping people. I think that's great if America can do it, but Where's the instant money creation for these people? Where's the $100 billion, $100 million, whatever package for these people? Get all these people a new home. Come on, just do it. This is absolutely insane that they are just still sitting here weeks, months after, a full month almost after this derailment. And it's right there. It's right there. And their kids are right there. They just gave them a cone. Here, put that cone next to the trampoline and tell your kids don't touch it. All right? And look at the soil. This is their soil. This is disgusting. This goop was just all over the soil, just piles of this goop all over this train derailment and in these people's backyard. This is just nuts and unacceptable. And it's not even soil, honestly. It's a mush of toxic waste that these people's yard has become, and they're just dumping more soil on top of it, dumping more dirt to mix it in. Same thing they're doing with the water. They're just diluting the water with more water, with fresh water. So let's get into this massive explosion that just happened in Ohio as well too. Another explosion just happened. Another chemical plant just exploded, and this was in Cincinnati, right near the Ohio River. All right, so more contamination you're looking at for the Ohio River, and also the city of Cincinnati could potentially be poisoned right now with these chemicals. How is this happening? And if you saw my video yesterday, top officials are warning of, quote, panic and chaos from a massive hit to our critical infrastructure, and they are saying that these attacks are going to ramp up. Exactly what I've been warning of for months, and we've been talking about. Now top officials are saying this is happening, and it's going to get a lot worse. So these explosions are not going to go away. They're going to keep coming. You can see here, fire contained after explosion at the Emery OleoChemicals plant in Cincinnati, Ohio. And just here's a little map for you so you can see. So there's the Emery OleoChemicals right above me, and it's right on Mill Creek. And you can see there the pin to the bigger picture. You can see that pin there. It's right on that waterway, and that's the Mill Creek, and it flows all the way down into the Ohio River. The Mill Creek does, right next to Cincinnati, and the Ohio River goes through Cincinnati. Cincinnati a couple weeks ago, it was already too late because it was already 2 weeks after this derailment, but they cut off their water intake for the Ohio River because they're worried that it's contaminated. So too little, too late. This waterway runs right through Cincinnati, and you can bet that the entire city has been contaminated with these chemicals. And a lot of these chemicals don't go away. They stay in the soil for decades and decades. I lived at a property where they used this nematode chemical to kill nematodes in the soil, and it stayed in the soil 50 years later. They used it 50 years ago, and I still have to use this special filter for the water, all right, to filter out these chemicals. So some of these stay in the soil a long time, and a lot of them have been converted into dioxins as well because from this burn, because they didn't burn off all the way, and then they convert into dioxins, which are very heavy and very permanent, and they stay in the soil, and they stay in animal fat for a very long time. I made a whole video on this a couple days ago, the 10-state video. If you want to go watch that video, I break it down a lot more and show you all the documents, 10 states you need to get out of now. And this is related to the Ohio River being contaminated with these dioxins. Very toxic, and they're related to Agent Orange poisoning. Agent Orange is very devastating, can cause major deformities, macrocephaly, microcephaly, cause to be born without eyes, organs, limbs. All these different deformities come from these dioxins directly related to Agent Orange, and specifically the ones for this derailment. So this is very serious, and these people are just allowed to sit here. They're allowed to sit here. And another explosion just happened in Cincinnati, and people are just allowed to sit there. They're just, nope, just sit there in Cincinnati while this chemical plant explodes and leaks into our waterways. Nope, just sit there. We are told that all these things are giant emergencies constantly. We need to be ready for this. Everything needs to be shut down for that. All these different things we are told are massive emergencies. But when there's a real emergency, these people are not going to make it. I'm sorry. And I feel absolutely terrible and guilty. All right. If you follow my video, I covered this train derailment right when it happened, before the media even got to it. And I just feel terrible. I feel terrible. I've been trying to tell people for over a month now, and these people are still just sitting here. They're still, look at those people. They're just sitting there. They're trapped. They're trapped. It's absolutely devastating. It's terrible. And if the government really is not good for much, and this would be a great use of their infinite power that they keep, their power grab that they keep having. Nope, they won't do this because this actually helps you. This will actually benefit you, and it's liability for them too. That's what they are thinking of in the long run, is that if we admit how bad this is, we might get sued. Norfolk Southern might get sued. If we really admit how bad it is to these people, this is all going to go. It's already going to court. They're already getting sued. But if the government comes out before there's a court hearing and everything, and they're forced to testify, they're forced to show evidence, all this stuff, they are going to look a lot worse if they come out and show all this terrible data before they get sued. All right. So a lot of it's just liability too. They want to protect themselves, and the government's allowed to lie to you. There's no law. That's what they do all the time. They are professional liars, and a lot of times they lie so they don't create panic. They've even admitted this overseas when all this stuff was going on, when invasions were happening overseas. I don't want to get too much into it. They even lied to people, and they didn't tell people till the last minute what was happening because they wanted people there to fight. They wanted men to stay there. They wanted people to be trapped there so they could fight. All right. They didn't want to tell them what was going on until the last second. So this is what's happening here. Do not trust a word that they say. Actually, the EPA head did come out and said that he would not allow his children to drink this tap water. So kudos to him. Good on him. He actually did say that, but he was at just a week ago, he was saying that it's great. All right. So people have been drinking this for a month already, and he's been saying it's great. And he just now came out and said, you know what? I want to let my kids drink this. Maybe we should look into this. So kudos to him. Maybe there is a ray of hope, but at the end of the day, they are allowed to lie, and they are going to lie. They would rather, instead of just give money to fix this problem, they would rather lie and be sued and try not to give any money at all for this problem. It's so strange. So strange. And they will spend our money on outrageous projects. All right. I always read stuff. They do studies on, how long it takes to cook an egg in like 30-degree weather on a car that's on the hood or something. Like, it's some ridiculous study. They send millions of dollars for that all the time. Probably money laundering, honestly, a lot of it. And they have no money for this. And they will nickel and dime, and they will fight to not give these people any money. It's completely wild, and it just feels like the people running our country do not have our best interests. They represent other interests, not part of the United States. That's what it feels like to me. So get prepared. Get your water filters. Get reverse osmosis. If you are here, you better have 2 reverse osmosis filters or systems on your water, all right? Because this is absolutely insane that they're allowing people to live here with this train derailment in their backyard. They won't even evacuate them. They won't even tell them that they have to leave and provide housing or anything for them. They're just letting them sit here and die. So you really have to take it into your own responsibility. If I was here, I would get out now. I would be looking for jobs at Walmart. I would work. I would do whatever. I would look for jobs at McDonald's in Florida or somewhere. I would get as far away as possible. I would do whatever it takes to get away from this situation ASAP. I would take any job anywhere, get away from here. I would move in with my parents or with my mom. All right, I don't have my mom. I would move in with my wife's grandma. All right, I would do whatever it takes to get away from this situation. You know what I'm saying? So do what it takes. Get prepared. Get water filters. Get the Life Straw. Get the Sawyer Mini filters, 10,000 gallons. Absolutely insane. I've used it many times. Completely legitimate Sawyer Mini water filter. They're probably already sold out by now. And honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have some kind of face mask, gas mask filtration device. Obviously not the ones we've been seeing the past few years, but something heavy duty, carbon filters on it, HEPA filters on it, that is going to protect you, sealed on your face, that would actually protect you in a situation like this. This is what this guy Luke was doing in this video. He was walking around with a sealed gas mask on, all right, to protect themselves from these volatile organic chemicals that are in the air. And even then, people are saying their eyes are burning. It could still get into your system, get into your body that way. And these chemicals are everywhere. They're everywhere. They're in our food supply. They're in our water supply. They've already approved nanoparticles in our food supply. They've approved nano titanium particles in our food supply. And they're like, oh, it's for food coloring. It's for food dye. We're already eating nanoparticles. They've already approved nanoparticles, part of certain pesticides and herbicides. They are infecting our world with nanoparticles and with these chemicals that give you cancer. All right, I've covered so many different ones. Even our water bottles, all the plastic has BPA in it, synthetic estrogen that produces estrogen for men, and then it produces breast cancer for women. This is all known. This is all a proven fact. And they put this stuff in our food, in our water, in our drinks, everything we drink every single day. We are constantly being exposed, and these people are just having that cranked up. They just crank the dial up on them times 1,000 for them at once. That's why I'm saying these people are dying. This is sad. This needs a response right now. We're so worried about everything else going on around the world, which it's important too, but this is happening right in America, in Ohio. I was born in Ohio. I lived in Florida most of my life, but I was born in Ohio. All my family's from Ohio. This is important, and this needs attention right now. So thank you guys so much. Please hit that like. Please hit that sub. Hit that bell and click all if you want to get notified for all my videos right to your phone. You'll get notified. Thank you guys so much. I'm really blessed to have you guys watching me, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.